Hi everybody, welcome to part 2, putting the pockets into our Advent base here on Bette's Makes. Hi everybody, welcome back. So last video we put this together, so now I'm just going to add some digital paper to the front section of the Advent book that I'm making. I'm using the digital paper with a bow on it. So what you're going to see me is I'm just cutting out the square for the digital paper to glue on. I can't see it on camera, but you can see the mess that I make. So once I have that all cut out, I'm going to glue it onto the top of the folio that we had made a couple days ago. So I'm going to do this, and I'm just going to make sure that everything fits properly, and I'm just going to glue it down with my art glitter glue because I like that. So I'm just folding a bit of the pieces and making sure everything fits. So once I like the placement, I'm going to use the art glitter glue, and then I'm going to glue it down along the front and that one side bit there. I'm going to do just the front cover first to make it easier. And then I'm going to fold that piece back at the spine. I'm just going to fold the book over. Make sure that it's pressed down well, and then I'm going to fold the flap over the spine. And I've decided that since it doesn't go all the way, I'm just going to... Oh, I changed my mind again. I'm just going to glue it down because I'm going to be inking all around it after I put on the papers. Now that I have that on, I'm going to open it up, and I've decided that I'm going to have a wrapping paper style. So I'm going to use the red wrapping paper style for all the cards on the inside of the book after everything is opened up. And then I'm going to use a different wrapping paper. So as you can see, I'm just using the red ones, and I'm just going to glue that inside every single card in the entire book. So when it opens up, it looks like it's all part of this one giant piece of paper. And then on the back side, I'm going to do the same thing, but with a different kind of wrapping paper type digital paper. So red on the inside, and I think I went with white on the outside. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to glue all these down, and then I'm going to ink around the edges, and then we're going to come back, and then we're going to start putting in the pockets for our base. Now as you can see here, I've got the red, and I've inked all around the edges of everything. I've also got the white wrapping paper for the outside so I can tell the difference. So now we're just going to open up that one side on the left side of your pamphlet, and we're going to go to the very end card, and we're going to make a pocket. So I've decided I'm going to use the poinsettia paper here, and I'm just going to make a couple of corner pockets. So I'm just marking it here, and I'm going to draw just like a little mark, and then I'm just going to take my scissors and cut the pocket off So now I'm trying to be smart and I'm going to cut the pocket on the other side, except for I forgot to flip it around to make it opposite because I originally wanted the pockets on the same side. So this is going to make the same pocket, so now my pockets will have to be on the opposite side of each other. So now that I have the pockets cut out, I'm just going to place them where I think they should go. And because I had a bit of a directional paper, I couldn't really do what I wanted to do. So I've decided that I'm just going to put them on opposite corners, and I still think that looks really good. So I'm just going to grab my glue and my ink. So we'll be inking the corners of this just so it matches. So I'll ink it around. And I'll fast forward through the inking. I ink in every single pocket, so sometimes it takes a while. Now once I'm done inking, I'm just going to set them where I think they should go. And then I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to glue on the two outer corners. So what I'm doing is I'm holding it in the place where I don't want to glue, and then I'll glue along the edges. So I'm going to repeat the process on the other pocket. I'm going to hold it where I don't want glue, and I'm just going to put little glues down on the two edges before I glue it down into our little folio book here. Now I have a bunch of ephemera cut out for this project, but as you can see there's a bunch of numbers here. These are going to be available in our resource library. So if you just go to our resource library, you'll be able to find these really quickly. You'll have the numbers in the Advent celebration title that you see at the top there. And then you can download these and use these for free. So what you see me doing now is I'm just inking all around the Advent circles, just to give it a little, let it a little less bright. I don't like the bright white showing. And then I'm going to glue them down onto the pockets. And these are the spots where our Advent tags that we make during our Advent celebration are going to go into when we're finished making the tags. Alright, now that we have those, I've decided I'm doing 3 on the top flap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out what kind of paper that I want to use for this pocket. So what you see me doing here is just going through the paper and seeing if I like it in that spot or if I don't. So I'm going to take a few pages out and I'm just going to place them onto the pocket area and see if it speaks to me, like, oh, okay, I think I'll use this one. Oh, okay, maybe not. It's a design process that goes on through my head where I have to decide what I think looks best. So all these digital papers are from our digital kit, And you don't have to use these papers. You can use any papers that you want to use, but these are the ones that I had created specifically for our Christmas Advent celebration. So I decided on a distressed gingham type pattern paper, and now I'm just going to mark it off, and then I'm going to cut it out. I could use a guillotine or a slicing machine. I could cut these out beforehand in Cricut Design Space, but right now, just for me, it's a little bit easier just to cut out. And I'm doing it all by eye, so nothing is going to be straight, but it's going to be straight enough. But I wanted that sort of handmade feel to my Advent book, so I like that it could be a little, you know, off kilter sometimes. So now I'm just going to take my little hole punch, and I'm going to punch a little slice out of it to make it look like a pocket. This isn't necessary if you don't have a hole punch. You don't need to do it with a hole punch. You can cut it out with your scissors, or you don't even need to cut it out at all. So now I'm just going to ink around the sides, and then I think I'm going to dirty it up a little bit so it looks a little aged and worn. And then we're going to stick the number 3 onto the pocket. So now that that's done, I'm going to move on to pocket number 4. So I've decided it's going to be on the very bottom flap. So I'm going to move things around my desk so we can see. And then I'm going to find the number 4, and we're going to take the number 4 out. And then we've got to decide on what paper we're going to use for this pocket. So I'm going to go through my papers and make a decision. So I decided on this beautiful plaid, and for this pocket we're just going to make a long corner pocket, so it's going to be the length of the single card. So I'm just going to mark it off at the top and at the bottom, and then I'm just going to cut it out. I think I'm just eyeballing this. And I'm going to cut a long strip, and then I'm just going to put it where I need it, and I'm just going to poke it with the scissors. An interesting way to measure for sure. Now that I know the size and I know what paper I want, I'm going to ink around the sides, and then I am going to glue it down. So I'm remembering to hold the one side where I don't want glue. I'm just going to glue around the edges because all of these that we're making today are going to be pockets. There, now that number 4 is done, we're going to flip up, out, up and out, and we're going to work on that middle piece there, and it's going to be pocket number 5. So same thing is I'm going to get out the number 5, and then I'm going to find a digital paper that I like to go with it. So I'm going to do that now. Now I'm just deciding on what I want to use for digital paper, and I've decided that I'm going to use this paper of a Christmas tree and balls, and I think I'm going to make a belly band. So I'm just using my fingers to hold it down, and I'm just going to mark with my pen this time exactly where I want to put this belly band. And I'm going to mark it on the other side. and then I'm very carefully going to cut it out with scissors. And once it's cut out, I am going to ink around the edges, and then I'm going to glue it down. Now a belly band, you only need to glue down 2 sides, so opposite sides, so you can put things in on the middle, and I'll show you once we get finished with the inking. So I'm just going to add glue on that one side there, and then the opposite. And then I'm going to place it in the middle, and then just press down, make sure that it sticks. Then I'm going to ink up the number 5, and then I'm going to glue that in. So once that's done, I'm just going to fold the pockets up just so they're out of the way, and then we're going to work on number 6. So this will be our 6th pocket that we're going to do today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for some digital paper that I like, and I think I'm still going to use these Christmas balls. And I'm just going to cut out a corner. I haven't measured it, I'm just cutting a corner. So I'm putting it down, and I don't really think I want to have a corner here. So I'm just kind of thinking to myself, and I think I'm going to grab the ephemera from our digital pack or the add-on pack, and then I'm just going to go through the ephemera and see if I can find something that can be used as a pocket. So I'm just going to do that now. And I really like the way these little tree postcardy thing looks, so I'm going to use that as a pocket. So I'm just trying to figure out where I want to place the pocket, and then I'm going to ink it up, and then I'm going to glue around the corners and glue it in. I really like the way that looks, so I'm going to take my number 6, and then I'm going to ink around the edges and then glue number 6 down, and then we have finished the left side of the book. So now we're going to do the top 4 flaps, and then we're going to work on number 7 first. So I really liked this poinsettia paper, so I am going to cut out a small corner of the page. I'm sorry you can't see while I'm cutting, but you'll be able to see the shape of what I'm doing once I finish cutting it. So I'm just doing a corner pocket like that, and then I'm going to ink around the edges, and I'm going to glue it down. So I'm just going to grab the number 7, and then I'm going to ink around the number 7 and then glue it down onto the pocket. So the next pocket is going to be the top one, and I'm just going to ink around 8 and 9 first, and then we're going to figure out what kind of pockets that I want to put in here. So I'm just going to fast forward while I'm inking. For these pockets that I'm doing up here, I want to do sort of like a double pocket. So I'll need 2 pieces of digital paper. So I'm going to use this paper here, and then I'm just going to measure out how big I want my pocket to be. And instead of cutting it, I'm going to rip it instead. I want to have like a nice ripped jagged edge, and then of course I'm going to ink it afterwards. So I'll ink the one edge. Well, I'll cut up the one edge so the corners or the sides are straight, but the actual pocket is ripped out. And then I'm just going to trim that little white band off the end. My printer does borderless paper, but it always leaves a white strip at the bottom of the paper, which is very interesting. So once I've cut that all out, I'm going to ink the edges. But I'm not going to glue it down right away, because first I need to find a piece of paper that goes with it that is going to act as the upper part of the pocket. Now at first I thought the blue would look good, but then I was thinking blue ribbon and red ribbon, maybe not. So I'm going to go through and see if there was another paper that I can use for this step. So I really liked the crumpled Christmassy type packing with some leaves on it. So I'm just arranging the page to see how I like it. I like the way they look together. So now I'm just going to figure out where I'm going to rip my pocket, and I decided I was going to rip it there. So I'm just ripping it. And then I'm going to measure with the other pocket, and then I'm just going to cut up the edge. And once that's done, I'm going to ink around the edges. And then I'm going to glue the little pocket onto the bigger pocket. So I'm just going to go along the edges and the bottom. And then I'm going to glue that down on the bigger pocket. And then I'm going to trim it up a bit. Add a bit of ink that I have cut off. And then I'm going to glue both of these pockets onto the flap. So I'm going to put glue along each edge, except for the ripped edge. And then I'm going to glue that down onto the top flap of our folio here. And then I think that looks really good. So now I'm going to glue on the 8 and the 9. And then we're done with this pocket. Alright, so now we're going to work on the right flap here, and I've decided I kind of want it to have it mirror 7. So I'm going to find the tag that I had cut out previously and I didn't use, and I'm just going to ink it up, and then I'm going to glue that down. So it's really simple. Now we're going to work on our 11th pocket, and I'm going through some of the scraps that I have from the digital paper that I glued onto the back of the folio, and I'm going to go through that and find a piece that I like, and I'm just going to do a simple strip of a belly band. And luckily I had a strip in my stash there that was the right size. So I'm just going to ink up the edges, and then I'm going to glue that down. And then I'm going to ink around the number 11 and glue that to the middle of the belly band that we're doing in a vertical position. So now we're going to work on the bottom folio. So it's the part that pulls out from the bottoms. As you see, we've got the right side, we've done the top side, and then this just flips down to the bottom. So we're going to do these pockets, and we're going to work on the right hand pocket first, so number 13. And I'm just kind of laying out my tags, my numbered tags, to figure out where I want to put everything. So 12, 13, 14. I'm going to do 15 there, and then I'm going to do 16 there. So we're going to work on pocket number 12 first, and we're going to find some nice digital paper to put on there, and we're going to figure out what kind of pocket we want to do. So I like this writing paper with some trees on it. I think we're going to use a little bottom corner, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold it up from the bottom, just using my finger to push it down, and then I'm going to cut along my fold line. I need to flip the paper over and cut that way. For me, it's easier to see the line to cut along. So once I cut most of that out, then I'm going to measure it a little bit on the cardstock to figure out how wide the pocket needs to be. And then I'm just going to mark it with a little bend. And my paper's all flying around. And then I'm going to cut that off. Can't see it off camera. So what I did is I folded it where I had measured the pocket, and then there was a little flap extra, so I just trimmed that off, and now I'm cutting it in half. I think I'm going to do a pocket on opposite sides. So I'm just trying to decide now. I do believe it's off camera again. I'm sorry for that. I'm going to punch it with the circle punch. So I'm doing both pieces of paper at the same time. And then I'm going to ink them one at a time. Then once that's done, I'm going to glue around the 3 sides, and then I'm going to glue it down to the pocket. And then I'm just checking to see if it'll fit a tag, and it is, so I'm happy. And then I'm going to glue the 12 on. And then I'm going to do the same for pocket number 15. So I'm just going to go right onto the opposite side and glue down 15. So we have 12 and 15 done because I wanted them to reflect and have the same pocket. So I'm just going to glue along the edges of the pocket, then I'm going to glue it down, and then we will work on something else. So for 13 and 14, I've decided I just want to do like a little tuck flap, and I do apologize that you can't really see it. So what I'm doing is I'm taking that spare piece of paper from the 2 pockets, and I'm just going to round one edge with my scissors. So you see there when I put it down, I've rounded the one edge and I kept the flat edge flat. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. And I'm just going to use little mini tuck spaces. So I'm just going to ink around the edge of the little tabs that I just made. And then I'm just going to add glue to the one side. And I'm just going to stick it to the middle of the card. Now it doesn't look like the middle here, but it is the middle of the card. And then I'm just going to glue half of the number 13, and I'm putting half of it onto the little tuck piece. Should be putting half, but I didn't. So I'm just going to stick that down. And I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side. I'm just going to glue down the one edge. And I'm going to try and to match where it is from the opposite side. And then I'm glue down number 14 onto it. And that will be our little tuck spots for number 13 and 14. Tag number 16, I'm just going to use some of the scraps that I've been saving, and I'm going to do another belly band. So I'm just going to grab a strip, and then I'm going to ink it up. After I fit it across, I'm just going to do a horizontal belly band for this one, and then I'm going to ink it up, glue it down, and attach the number. So now we're going to work on the right side of the folio, and our pockets are coming along together. So for this one, I've pulled out a bunch of ephemera that I'd like to use instead of some of the digital paper. So I'm just going to ink around the ephemera, and then we will figure out where we're going to place everything. So you don't really need ephemera. You can do this out of your own ephemera. You can grab the digital kit add-on that we have, as well as the ones that are included in the digital kit. So what you can see here is I'm taking one of the squares and I'm just going to glue it in the corner, so it's going to be like a little corner tuck spot, and I'm going to glue the number 19 onto it because that's going to be the 19th one. And I'm just putting it on the top. I'm making sure there's no glue on the back so it doesn't stick down. And then for the other side, I'm going to glue on the outer two pocket side, or the two sides, to make a little tuck spot. So I'm just going to do it on that side and that side. I'm holding my hand on the side where I'm not going to apply glue, and then I'm just putting it up in the upper corner. And then I'm going to glue the number 18 on there. So the next pocket we're going to do is number 22, and this is going to be a thick belly band. So I have this beautiful map of the North Pole from our ephemera kit, and I'm just going to apply glue on two sides like I would on a belly band. And I'm sorry you can't see it off camera there. So I've got it glued on the right side and the left side. And I'm just going to place it in, give it a press to make sure it's placed in properly. So this means that the top and the bottom are open and they're not glued down, so I can use this as a very thick belly band. The next is we're going to do a little circle tuck. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue the number onto the little circle tuck that I have used and inked. And it's off camera again, I'm so sorry. And I'm only going to glue on one side. So just the one side of the circle, just the right side there, right where I'm putting my finger, that's all I've glued in. And I'm just making it a little straight. And then that's it for pocket number 17. So I've decided I wanted to do tuck spots for the next 2 pockets. So I'm going to do a little tuck on the bottom and on the top. So you can see that I have a little reindeer there. And I'm gluing the bottom one, but it's not on camera and I haven't realized it. So what I'm doing is the exact same thing as I'm going to do on the top pocket, which we'll see in a moment. So I'm just putting glue on the bottom and I'm pressing it down on the middle. And then I'm just going to glue the number onto the little tuck spot. So I'm just going to put it in the corner there and it looks nice. Just making sure that everything is done. Press down. Then I'm going to close the book. And we have one more spot. So if we open up all the flaps, just the once, you'll see that we have just the middle pieces to do. So these are our last 2 pocket spots. And we're going to put in, I think, a bit of a belly band and a bottom pocket. I think that's what I want to do for this part. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to ink the numbers and then I'm going to find the paper that I want to use for this. So I grabbed a strip from the scrap papers that I've been doing and I'm just gluing in a little belly band. And then I'm adding the number 24 because that's where the last tag and from our Advent celebration is going to go. And then I'm going to grab a strip of the white and I'm just going to cut it to size. I'm just inking it down to make it less white, making it feel a little aged. And then I glued around the 3 sides, keeping the top part open. And then I'm going to glue down the number 23. So now all of our pockets for this project are put in place and are ready for our next video, which will be on December the 1st. And that's when we'll start making all the tags for the video. And I'm just going to do a pop out here and show you everything. all the pockets. So the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put Advent on the front cover. I'm going to put it on a bit of an angle, and then I'm going to, I'm inking it up now, and then I'm going to glue it down. I hope that everybody had a fun time making these pockets to go into our Advent celebration folio book. And I can't wait to start making tags with you at the beginning of December. So I'll see you all back here December 1st while we create our first tag for our countdown for Advent. Have a wonderful holiday season and happy crafting.